Alright, hello everyone, this is Nodscouter and this is just going to be a quick little introduction video to my new tournament. I don't actually intend to go through all the rules here. This should, by the time I'm recording this is maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 days before I'm actually going to post the announcements about this. And I mean, I think all the rules are in the document, but because my tournaments are weird, and I realized there are a few complicating factors, I wanted to make a short video, just try to go through some of them, give examples and give explanations so as to make sure they're as understandable as possible, basically. So, as you might notice this time around, there's going to be a fair amount of rules. This early section is just, it's the typical stuff, but basically what this tournament is going to be centered around is the idea, as you might notice by this little graphic up here, every time you're going to be playing in 3 or 4-man teams, and every time you age up, you switch players. Now, I don't think everyone might know about this, but the DE has this, essentially a mechanic where if you select the same team, color, and civilization, you essentially play as the same civ, or you sort of share control of the same player, I guess is the other way to put it. So you'll load in with the same town center, the same units, and you'll get to share control. And this tournament is going to be a variation on that concept, where only one player actually plays at the same time. And that's going to be divided into the into the different ages. But there are a few complicating things, because as I mentioned, you can play as either 3 or 4-man teams, and you're probably going to point out, right, that there are 4 ages. So how would we do it if there are 3 person teams? And that's one of the big things I'm just going to go through quickly in this video. So I have this other document where I've set up a few examples of what I call valid and invalid setups. And just to give an explanation, because in the little rumble here, let's see. As per this rule, this is essentially the core of the tournament right here. Everything else is just clarification, or the typical tournament stuff about single elimination, yada yada yada. But yeah, every time you age up, you switch players within 30 seconds. If you don't, then, you know, I'm sorry, you're disqualified. But it's just the setup of the tournament. But to allow for 3-person teams, and also to allow for people to just set up as they want, because the Dark Age is typically so short and so simple, it's just set up for the next few ages. If you're in a 3-person team, the person who plays Dark Age can either continue into Feudal, or they can sit out Feudal and Castle and then come back in the Imperial Age. These are the only 2 exceptions to the rule of always switching players when you go up an age, which is why I have this quick demonstration. Now, for 4-player teams, it's pretty much exactly as you might imagine it is. I'm showing it here with Team Rashidun here on the left. There are 4 players, there are 4 ages, you just pick an age each, and you go for it. And so I think it's pretty obvious. But if you have 4 players, everyone has to play at 1 age, nobody gets to play 2 ages, which is why this second setup here is invalid. For 3-player teams, which I'm representing here with Team Francia, here are the 2 variations that are allowed, which, as you can see, we're having, in both examples, we have Charles Martel as our Dark Age player. And in the first example, he just continues during Feudal. He you know, at this point there's no swap out, he just continues playing. And then when you reach Castle, you swap out, and when you reach Imperial, you swap out again. And the other variation is for Charles Martel to stop playing at Feudal, and then if they reach Imperial, he comes back. So basically, the point is that only the Dark Age player can play any other age in a 3-person team, and only either Feudal or Imperial. Which is why there's an invalid setup here, where Charles Martel also plays Castle. That's not allowed. Castle is separate. You have to have someone else play Castle in Dark Age. And of course, the other variation here that I'm just quickly demonstrating is just that it's only the Dark Age player who can play 2 ages. You can't just have, as in this case, Feudal and Imperial Age be the same player. You couldn't do Feudal and Castle, and you couldn't do Castle and Imperial. It has to be the Dark Age player, and only either Feudal over here, or Imperial over here. So, I hope that's a decent explanation of the rule. It's essentially just there because Dark Age, again, so simple and so relatively quick. So either you can continue to play in the opening, or you can come back for the end game. And again, the rest of these rules are by and large just clarifications, usual tournament stuff, making sure that everything's as clear as possible. I know it looks a lot, but don't worry about it too much. There's a quick explanation down here for how you actually make sure to put multiple people on the same team. And so I wanted to also just demonstrate it in-game a bit. I sadly can't actually show off the co-op because I don't have a second player here, and you can't do it with the AI, which makes a lot of sense. It would be very confusing with the AI. But just a quick explanation of how you actually set up the lobby. You don't have to have a specific lobby name, but it could probably help to have something along these lines as sort of a template. You make sure to put it to visibility public, and you do need to have 6 to 8 players depending on the size of the 2 teams participating. You can probably just default it to 8, that sounds like a good idea to me. Passwords aren't required, but probably recommended, so you can just put in something generic like relay, or perhaps a rumble. You should allow spectators, and you should definitely make sure to hide civilizations, as it's a draft scenario, and you don't have to announce what civ you will be going into a given match with. So make sure spectator delay is 1 minute, and the rest should be pretty much as usual. Now, as mentioned, I can't actually show off the co-op mechanics, so you'll have to use your imagination here. But yeah, apart from the sort of oddities of making sure that you have same civ, same team, and it has to be a numbered team, and the same color, and as long as you do that for all of your teammates, this should work perfectly fine. If it doesn't, and you accidentally come into a game and you notice there are multiple different players rather than just there are multiple different civilizations, you can just restart freely, that's fine. If you play on while you have spawned in with multiple TCs and multiple civilizations, obviously that's a disqualification. But yeah, if it's an honest mistake, you can just go back and fix it, it's fine. Make sure it's a tiny map, by the way, because again, you're gonna have up to 8 players, but only 2 civilizations, so we play as if we had only 2 players. Everything else is practically standard. The first map is Arabia. You should make sure to record game, turn off allow cheats and all of these special settings, and lock speed, and everything else. Yes, it's pretty much the typical setup. And it shouldn't be too worrisome to set that up. So I will go ahead and just set up an AI, and I'll give you the rough showing of how it would look like in game. It's not too big, just a few things to keep in mind as you come into the game. So I should also mention that when you are determining who plays what age, you don't have to determine that beforehand. You can do it basically as soon as any age is reached, as long as it follows the earlier mentioned rules about who can play what age. So at the start of the game, you should mention who's playing in all chat, and you just go something like this. And the nice thing, of course, is that you can do this with someone else who isn't currently playing, like one of your spectating buddies, essentially. So it shouldn't take you too much APM to do so. And that's essentially just the start. You pick the one player you want to play the Dark Age, and well, they get going. And yeah, I will see you shortly once I reach Feudal Age. And yeah, I will see you then and show you what happens there. Alright, so welcome back. I am very close now to reaching the Feudal Age, and just to clarify, the switch out happens essentially when we reach Feudal Age, and there we are. So at this point, I'm no longer allowed to control units. I can still observe, I can still chat to my teammates, and I can still give recommendations, and I can look at things, so I can check stats and stuff like that. But as soon as I make an order, like say this, that would disqualify my team from the tournament. So I can look at this and say, oh shit, retreat those militia, you're gonna get shut down by the town center, but I can't actually myself do it. So, apart from that though, I should just quickly go ahead and announce who is next in my team. And at that point, that's pretty much all that needs to be done for the rules of this tournament. Oh, the AI is actually... That's extremely wholesome. I forgot that there were still cows out there. Okay, that's very nice of them. Okay, very wholesome ending to this little tutorial video. But yeah, at this point you've seen pretty much the gist of it. You just need to make sure, like, you don't have to necessarily rush out the immediate switch, and you're also allowed by the rules to pause, which, for those of you who don't know, that's F3 by default. And this pause has to be respected for up to 2 minutes, just to make sure that you, if there's any issues with swapping out, like if someone has a hotkey issue or anything like that, they can do so at peace, and the other team has to respect it, up until those 2 minutes have passed, at which point, I mean, you can still respect it if you want to, of course. I'm not saying you should unpause by the rules, but you're not allowed to not unpause, so to speak. You have to respect that when an HF occurs, they may need a little bit of time to make sure everything's on the right page. But that's pretty much all there is to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see many of you in the tournament itself. Thank you for watching.